Into your topic because you had one that I was like, I can tell you're passionate about. You want to talk about the esports team, the Navy esports team, and kind
Yeah.
of the controversy that's gone around it. To give some background story, the Navy esports team has become a thing. The Army has created one, Air Force has created one, and what's happened is controversy about it was the Army that was doing fake giveaways for their controllers. That was one thing. And then also the toxicity of like people in the chat. They were banning people, which they're a government organization, which you can't do that because you're blocking freedom of speech. That was one of the things that was coming about. And then now we've dealt with a guy that was kicked off the Navy esports team for insensitive usernames about Japanese culture. Like, so the US Navy's Twitch account is facing criticism after streaming a game of Among Us that featured players using offensive and racially insensitive names, with at least 2 appearing to glorify the nuclear bombing of Japan during World War II. On Saturday, the Navy's Twitch account streamed the Among Us games gaming websites Invin Global and Game Rant first reported 2 players used the handles Nagasaki and Japan 1945, apparent references to World War II. You go through social media training for this. Like, it's one of those like blatantly obvious, like, do you realize that you're not just playing with your buddies right now? This is going online for the world to see. Like, if this was like your personal stream, like how I kind of do this, I would say like, all right, cool. Like, just make sure you follow the guidelines. Like, I don't, support, or I'm not part of the DOD, DON, blah, blah, blah. Like, and really there's a lot of stuff you can do that falls in freedom of speech, but you are on the U.S. Navy official esports team. Like,
And I believe they're on the Navy Twitch as well, like the official Navy like Twitch channel too.
Yeah. So, but you had a lot of strong feelings about it because you've played competitively as far as Halo and you followed since then. But what is your thought process on what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong, and how we can go about it?
I mean, I think they're doing everything wrong. Do you know how you get on the stream team? Do you know like the process of how you do it?
Yeah. A guy I work with is applying right now and has gone through most of the process.
And then you go to like recruiter school.
Yep.
And then they send you to Millington. Like, how they should use esports teams is to draw people like to the Navy, right?
Yeah.
But having these people just become recruiters and then like trying to like sell people, like that's not how the esports community works. Like they don't, like that's essentially, I mean, they're not being sellouts, but like esports community doesn't like that, like things like that, being forced on them, or knowing that you have like an agenda behind why you're streaming, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like the Navy, if they wanted to have like a competitive team, right? As much as like I hate saying it, like just make it like a club team at the academy, right? Like something that's more controlled, and something that where you could have like a director of like Navy esports that's the same person setting the same standard for however, but instead they're treating it just as a tour. Like these people, anyone can apply, you're going to do it for 3 years, and then they're going to rotate back to sea duty, and that's also not how esports works. Like esports is based off personalities, people that are going to be there for a while, right? I mean, people are like in love with organizations, right? Like, but a lot of times people begin to like these organizations because of the personalities that are on them, not just because it's an organization, right? So I think what the Navy should have done is not tried to have done the streaming thing at all. But I mean, the Air Force started years ago. The Air Force actually sponsored Cloud9 like years ago. I think it was like the Air Force Reserves actually. And then even League of Legends on their LCS broadcasts, I believe like the Army owns like the replay cam. So it's like the Army, instant replay or whatever.
Yeah.
And the Navy never jumped on that bandwagon. And I've been like tweeting the CNO and MCPON for like years saying, hey.
Which says change it. Maybe McPon or the CNO will watch this. Who knows, man?
True, maybe.
But
like that, like I've been saying that they should have. When I saw the Air Force sponsor Cloud9 like 5 or 6 years ago, like I was like you guys need to jump on that now. And
so to combat that a little bit, what I want to say is what I think they're trying to do as well is not only market, but also say, how can we make the military not look as, quote, the military in this thing? Like, whoa, like that, like we're regular Joes, right? And I think that's the appeal is like, we've got enough footage and videos of people jumping out of helicopters and doing that. But you know, when you look at our jobs, like I go work in a building in a clinic and I treat people like a regular clinic hospital setting. And I sometimes go out to a field setting in a tent and treat people. Right. But when I look at that, I'm like, I don't know if we're going to get a bang for a buck, because like you're saying, like people are able to actually see whenever someone's being delivered something, we now question, and even people are being trained at younger levels to question, why is this person doing this? Why am I getting, why is someone doing this for me or trying to entertain me? And that's what they're seeing. And when I look,
also, go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's okay. And when I look at it, I can appreciate the effort. And I think it's a good attempt at what they're trying to do. I just wonder if they would have maybe gotten better results if they would have just sponsored, you know, if they would have gotten the same recognition, you know, and maybe taken the esports out and done some YouTube videos with them, be like, like let's take them with play service members, you know, sponsor them, but play service members. And the other thing I wanted to combat, kind of what you're saying, was the academy. Like, so an esports person is probably training how many hours a day, right? You know, hours upon hours.
8 to 10.
8 to 10 hours. And so now you take somebody out of the academy where they can't train for 8 to 10 hours. They've got English, math, and so I think that's appropriate for a sport, you know, but I don't think that's going to be a long-term thing. It would be very difficult to make that a manageable thing. And you'll always end up getting subpar results with it unless you're just going to sponsor them and you know, pay that money as a contract. So
yeah, I definitely think just sponsoring it, or even like I said, like it's the YouTube community is based off personalities, and the way that the Navy has it set up now, it's not creating personalities. It's just they're doing the cool thing of streaming and gaming, but if no one's attracted to those personalities, and even if they are, they're not going to be there in 3 years when they rotate back to sea duty. You know what I mean? So it's not.
They can't really be them. They can be themselves, but it's also within these specified parameters, right? Like, like I look at anybody that's quote controversial at times. Joe Rogan, you know, like you look at him, you know, just as attention seekers or grabbers. They're not always the person that's like cookie cutter, I'm good, you know, and that's kind of the nature of where we're at, where you can't cancel people. I mean, the Navy can obviously get them off the team, and that's that. But I look at it and I'm also like, there's going to be some bumps in the road. There's going to be some things that aren't great, and we learn from them and we kind of move on. And I would say some of the criticisms I've heard from the team itself were about how they filter down who is actually good and who isn't, and you know, different ways that they're pulling. And I think the other question is like, this guy's playing Among Us, like, okay, like not a competitive, you know, thing. It's a fun game, but you know, I'm not gonna say it's not. But what is gonna make me draw people to that channel if we're just streaming whatever it is?
I mean, I think the Navy should explore. Is that even the right word to use?
Explore.
Like people who are already established, like yourself and other Navy YouTubers, right? Because look at what the Army is doing with Tim Kennedy.
Oh yeah,
he's active duty, but like he's everywhere. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And he even says it on like Joe Rogan's podcast. He's like, because of how like the retention and the screening for like spec op people now is so difficult. You know what I mean? Like, and that's like the Army's kind of like using him as like a poster child to try to draw those types of people, and like if the Navy could just do someone like that has some sort of celebrity status of any sort.
Yeah.
And just kind of and you can do that. Like, it doesn't need to be a tour for you, right? Like, you can do, like, when you transfer to shore duty, when you transfer back to the States, like, you're still going to have your office set up with your channel. Like, it's not going to change anything. Like, you can still carry that personality with you throughout your throughout your career, right? Same thing with Tim Kennedy. Like, no matter, he's always jumping out of airplanes in Africa and doing Green Beret stuff, but like his Instagram never changes. Like, he's still Tim Kennedy. You know what I mean?
I'll be honest with you. I want to be fair a lot because I've went to the Pentagon and met a lot of the people that work there that do the social media stuff. Like they've recognized me as a creator, you know, to help, you know, as far as that goes. Even though that's not been my entire goal. Like I think that's pretty obvious. Like I'm coming here because I genuinely want to help people. But, dude, I think what happened, like esports has enough numbers because when you pitch this idea to an admiral, like we're gonna put funding to something, show me numbers, show me what makes sense. The thing is that doesn't always make sense. I've got ideas where I've wanted to like be a show host for the Navy at some point, and I'm like, I want to be the average Joe. I want to be the dirty jobs Mike Rowe, and I want to go and do every job, and that's what I want to like. Send me to go clean something, you know, whatever it is, like the dirtiest thing that you can do, and show the people the reality of what the Navy is like on a day in the life. And then I'm like, hey man, I normally like this is my day in the life. I'm in a clinic wearing clean clothes, you know. But these are the guys working in engineering spaces, and this is, you know, I try and do something and I fail. You know, I have many more ideas where I'm like, we could make, you know, recruiting without having to throw money at big creators either to try and lure them to the Navy either. So, yeah. What else would you change to make it better other than so you think going the more traditional model is pretty much the best way to go about it, right?
Yeah, definitely more so just plastering the Navy logo in things that are already established, like LCS and you know, the CDL League, the new Call of Duty League franchised. It's a new league that began last year. Like, that would have been a perfect opportunity for the Navy to jump on there, but the Army did already. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if there's room for both of them on there, or not as far as the sponsorships, but I just feel like, I feel like they're trying to do something that they don't understand.